Hey, I want to take some videos here that I can use in my weather video for tonight. I'll post on YouTube. Hopefully I can, this is just my cell phone camera taking this video, so it's not real high tech yet. But hopefully you can see these clouds that are going on out here. Earlier I saw some cirrus clouds out here, which are the first signs that rain is coming. But these appear to be a little bit thicker clouds. Okay, I backed up a little bit so I can get a better vantage point and look around a little bit better and not be disturbing anybody, because this is about lunchtime here where I am, and people are coming and going a lot. Hopefully y'all can see these clouds and stuff moving around. The temperature is still pretty cool here where I am, and the breeze is kicking up out of the northeast, which is in this direction, which I know because the sun about the middle of the day is down this way, so that's south. The sun would be south in the northern hemisphere, and so northeast is out of this way, and that's kind of where the wind seems to be blowing in my face, and it's the air is a lot drier than it has been recently, even though it's blowing so easterly is near the ocean and where I live, and but it's still a drier air, so it's kind of nice. And these are middle level clouds, which would be they're getting here now, which mean that rain is more likely to be coming if these are cumulus clouds mostly here, so we'll use this with the video later on. All right, it's about 2:30 here local time and where I am in Fayetteville, and the sun is moving along further over that way. It's hard to see today because the clouds are getting really rolling in at this point, and they're getting thicker, and the wind is still fairly steady. It's a light breeze today. Probably feels like it's about upper 70s just by feeling it. It's the air temperature, but heat index would probably be in the lower 80s. Okay, I wanted to take a brief video here about the car thermometer. I've got one of those in my car. It wasn't the reason I bought it, but I was glad it had it. I was playing around with it, and I figured out that I can change. The default thing was to show the mileage, like a lot of cars do, and you can also do the trips and stuff. But then you go over here, oh, I get a temperature, and it shows it in Fahrenheit. Now that's nice, you know. In America here where I am, we use Fahrenheit, but most of the world uses Celsius, but Fahrenheit is the standard thing here. And it's showing 82, and I found my car thermometer to be pretty accurate. I happen to have a white car, so I can white SUV. I can't really show it that well with this camera right here, but inside of it, the car. But the white reflects a lot of light, so it makes makes it for a better sensor thing for the thermometer. Is like somewhere under the hood of the car, I do believe. I have to get out the manual and read about it myself and figure out exactly where it is, but I found that it tends to be in a pretty accurate reading most of the time. It gets really good once you get on the road and start moving around, and it's showing 82 now, and it's holding pretty steady, but I'm currently parked in my garage in my house after I just got home, and when I was driving back from work, it got down to about 78, 79 pretty easily, and that would actually be the air temperature that you know the weatherman would want to report. I found my temperature on my car when I'm out and about and stuff to agree pretty good with what they report on the news and the Google Mini and stuff like that. It matches up pretty good. So the main thing though is to make sure you're moving around, because when you idle in a place or sitting in the parking lot, a lot of times the heat underneath the car can make it elevated, and a lot of people, they want to look at their temperature right when they get in the car and crank it up, and oh no, it's like 100 degrees or something, and that's kind of be a faulty reading. The thermometer works better on a car when it's moving around and the air's rushing around underneath it, and getting it to the actual air temperature that's all around. I mean, granted, it is hotter in the parking lot, but that's kind of micro meteorology, which is a whole other subject I can get to in a later video. But for having a thermometer in your car is kind of nice, because then you can know exactly what the temperature is, where you're going, and what it's going to be like when you get outside the car. A lot of times I go to the mountains and of North Carolina, and I can see the temperature drop 10-20 degrees sometimes on just a short ascent up the mountain, and that's pretty impressive. So okay, what we have here is a satellite imagery. I tried to get more of that going this time. I disabled the radar temporarily so we could just focus on clouds. These different shades here represent the higher cloud tops in this particular satellite imagery, so it looks a lot more impressive. It looks like it's raining or something, but it really is in a lot of these places. We'll see here in a minute. Here's Sally currently, still right along the coast, keeps battering them with a real slow speed. You can tell that where I was shooting the videos earlier today, the clouds are getting thicker, but we're still not in the real thick clouds where I am here. The wind's still blowing out of the east off the ocean and keeping things cool where I am. And you notice it starts turning a little bit up here. That's pretty typical with a high pressure. And then up in this area, I'd imagine in West Virginia and Virginia up in that way, it's fairly sunny still. So we'll take a look at some other, and then where I have it set on the forecast for my location, so you can rig this app to do that. And they're showing the very little chance of rain, even though the clouds are already here. It doesn't look like the precipitation is going to get real up until tomorrow. But they're showing rain to be starting at right after sunset. I like how they show when the sun sets, because that's always changing based on what time of year it is. But we look further out, it does look like it's a lot of rain. This keeps coming with this thing for the next several bits. So this only goes out until the next day. It is a 1 day thing here, but this week at a glance shows you the long range forecast down there. And then if you scroll down, we get to find the right scroll bar here. It'll give you more of a forecast kind of situation for where you are. See, 92% chance tomorrow, so and the 90% chance Friday, so it looks pretty wet here. Then you can get down here and actually read the forecast and stuff to what like they would present on the news a lot. So that's good to know. Now I'll stop the video for just a second, just so I could, tweak some things and have it properly load up and not be waiting to see what would happen with my computer. But what happened here, all I did to make this one from the previous video was I took the clouds off and threw the radar back on, and you can see before where our clouds are like way out in this area, and there's a lot of clouds that we were getting clouds here, but then I took the clouds completely out, and this is just the radar, and this is what they love to show you on the news, and they show you where exactly it's raining and stuff. And so you see the real intense rain is down where the center of the storm is, and that's to be expected, but there's a lot of rain going all around. A lot of places are getting light rain, and they get that for a lot longer. The intense rain is what everybody focuses on. Where's the heaviest wind and heaviest rain? But usually a lot of hurricanes that are fast moving, they blow through and they get a lot of intense stuff for an hour or two, and then it's gone. But this one, the rain and the heavy rain is keep going over the same spot, and you'll see a lot of flood advisories, I'm sure, down in here. And we still see, I left the tracking on, and it does look like that storm is heading right for where I am. We get to the depression status, they're forecasting when it gets here. So that means that the winds are diminishing and the storm is weakening, but there'll still be a lot of rain coming out of it. Okay, for this next section, I wanted to focus in closer to where the big action's happening, where a lot of people are probably paying all attention to the news media and stuff. What I zoomed in on was Panama City, Florida, where I have been once before on a trip. Now here they're showing precipitation unlikely, like wherever they are, and I guess right where Panama City is there, it would be unlikely for the next few minutes, but they do show a very high precip chance for another while, and there's more rain that will likely form out here. If you're looking at this water temperatures here along there, it's like bath water along Florida, 86 degrees and 84 degrees. That's very warm for water temperature. You hardly ever see water temperature get in the 90s. But now in the land here, what I did on this one, this is upper level winds. This is not at the surface here, but it looks very similar. Although the difference, I noticed it's just a big circle, and that's why this hurricane's going so slow. There's just like a cutoff flow kind of thing where there's the wind's just circling around aloft, and it's not really pushing the storm anywhere. It's just kind of teetering around, barely moving, going about as fast as somebody can run or whatever. So the main rain shield now is pushing on up into Georgia and Alabama, and but there's still a lot of action down in Florida that's sort of related to this storm as well. A lot of lightning and stuff, and pretty big storms. These are kind of related to this storm, but the main action is in here. And if you go back to the surface winds, this is where the surface winds are real stiff. Let me see if I can tweak that while I'm on here. Winds, and I'll go back to the ground, and just got to let it load for a minute. The radar will come up first and show that just the radar, and then let's get back to the forecast here on this thing too. Still have the forecast. So this here, when these winds, that was a jet stream again. I think it'll load the surface winds now. There we go. That's the surface winds, and see they're still pretty stiff. That's a stiff wind for the surface, and it's blowing right over them there. Now see, notice they get it coming right off the ocean there, and that's where they talk about coastal flooding and stuff. When the wind's blowing out of the ocean, that tends to bring more trouble. Well, on this side though, it's a stiff wind, but it's blowing out to sea. So it's a little bit different on that side. But they always talk about that eastern side of a storm being the worst. Now in this section, I wanted to show about this hurricane that's out in the middle of the ocean. I mentioned that in my previous video, and it's packing a really tight punch in the ground. These are surface winds I'm showing this time. I don't have the satellite on, so you don't see any clouds anywhere, but the radar is on, and there's a significant amount of rain coming out there. And well, I said over here about the storm everybody's interested in America, about how when a storm moves, it moves on out, the rain it drops off real quick. I noticed here that right when the storm is there, it's going to be pounding in the rain, but then it drops off real quick, and the chances of rain diminish real quick when the storm moves on past. And so that doesn't look so intimidating when you look at a long range forecast like that. And so the rest of the hourly forecast is it is going to rain a few more hours out in that spot, and then the wind will keep blowing, but the rain will be over. So this one's a short-lived thing when the storm's moving along. Now it is like it's a Cat 2. Of course, well, it was when it's tracking all through here, and it's predicted to turn into a tropical storm and get caught up and turned down that way due to a lot of other factors. But there's not much. There's a lot of colder air up here in Canada too, and that high pressure is still kind of dominating. You can see out in the ocean where the whole, you can check out the whole high pressure going around, and the winds spilling from high into the low, even out here. And there would be some sort of front right in this area that they're not drawing on the map because it's out in the middle of the ocean. But this would be colder air coming in through here and pushing this along, and see where this warm air here collides with the cooler air just south of Iceland. It makes rain out there in the ocean. So there's always stuff going on that meteorologists can learn from. While it may be out in the ocean where most people don't care, but you can still learn a little bit about science just by what's going on, because most of the world is ocean. So there's a lot of things going on there. And then we see another storm that's posted, this other one further south. It looks like it's going to turn into a Cat 4, move down to near its spot, and here we are getting to this one. They are expecting a lot of rain for a little while there, and kind of a flat line temperature. That's pretty common in the ocean all the time. But when it looks like getting to Cat 4, they're forecasting to strengthen, and then I guess it's going to weaken a little bit when it comes out this way, is what they're expecting. But then it goes to Cat 2. So don't get confused with this. Is the storm I was just looking at, and it's going it's kind of going right where the other one was. But like I said last night, that when it gets out here, it may not follow the same exact path. By the time this one gets there, it may do something else. So we'll have to keep it. This is one to keep an eye on right here. We'll see. And then we've got something else going on over here that may develop this. I think they're picking on this wave coming off of Africa here, and then there's one over here too that's just forecast to basically turn into a depression and weaken, so they're probably not too concerned about that one. Okay, on this one we're going from one extreme to the other. I've looked at where weather was wild in the middle of nowhere, and now I'm trying to look at where a lot of people are, but there's not as much weather going on. I went to Chicago, Illinois here is where I'm pinpointed this time, and I have been there 3 different times and enjoyed each trip. Now, here currently it looks like it's 81 degrees according to this, and 83 maybe at another station nearby. Maybe that's probably the O'Hare Airport. They're reporting that. But there's 2 cold fronts they're showing. Really, it's just a steady stream of colder air moving in. You see it's in the 50s up there in northern Minnesota, and you got the Great Lakes here. They don't warm up near as much as the ocean. They're in the 60s now. I noticed back in the spring, this point up here, the stayed really cold. It was like 30-degree water in like June and July. I'm like, that's pretty crazy. But if that was true, I can't verify that. But this cold air is pushing down pretty good through here. This is just surface winds here. There's no satellite I've got on this feed here, but there is radar on, and it looks pretty rain free out in this area, and precipitation unlikely, and they're showing some clouds being around in the next few hours, but no very little chance of rain. But you do see the temperature dropping down pretty good. All those people in Chicago are going to get a lot colder tonight, and it'll stay pretty chilly for them, but it does look like it's going to rebound and get a little warmer. Also looked over this way, kind of where these wildfires are going on. They seem to be anywhere from the mountains beyond. There's a big spine of mountains right here, if you can see in the video, and you can see where the air kind of hits the mountains, and then it does different things when it collides with the mountains, and some of it goes up and some of it goes down, but there's like a barrier here, and you don't see very strong winds through here. We've got a couple of earthquakes going on right now. Recently there's one in Oklahoma that's a magnitude 2.97, but that's so weak you can barely feel it. You need about a magnitude. There's one that's 3.41. I think what I've heard is once you get about magnitude, I know when you get to magnitude 5, people start actually feeling that and reporting it and stuff, but I don't see, there's an earthquake here in Nevada. That's 2.8, so that's a real weak one too. But that's kind of what's going on out there. There's got all these wildfires I could report. Let's find this one here near, closer to other places, and it reports a little bit about. Some of them has more information than others. But there's a couple of them to pick there, and they don't know about that one too much either. But some of them they have a lot of info on, but they do kind of report fires in America pretty well. And you can see also this is a pretty common feature with the cold fronts shoot down near Texas a lot, and the cold air will come plunging down. Sometimes in the fall and spring it'll blast all the way down into Mexico, or even in the winter too. And the cold air will come down this area real good till it hits these mountains down here. But I know from traveling this area right in here on I-40 is very flat and wide open plains, and a lot of this is too, from what I've gathered before. But I know from experience that you get some mountains right here in Arkansas, and you're going through the Ozarks and stuff, but all through here it's real flat until you get near Santa Fe and Albuquerque.